I have intermittently thought of quitting as an artist, um, for sure. And I think it's been more of like a fear that I would quit.
Mm.
Um, and or I've been distracted, if that makes sense. But I always come back around to it, like it's always there, either lurking or beguiling is, whatever. Um, so yeah, I've thought of quitting. Um, Part of it is that I have had a hard time myself parsing art from academia in my life. My I have not been out of academia for my entire lifetime, like since I was a little thing. Um, and the first time, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask, did you take any break out of undergrad? Like, have you always?
Unwisely, no. And I advise my students to take a break.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew any better, honestly. Like I had professors who were sort of cheerleading me into going to grad school, and I was far too sort of green and naive, and yet I went. And so I feel like I also didn't major in art in undergrad. I
Mm.
majored in English and minored in art, and then kind of went whole hog into painting. But there's so much stuff I missed that I feel like academia has given me a structure. And as it does let up over time as a person gets like tenure or full professor or decides to stop volunteering for like 15 committees at once, because who's got time for all that? Um, and so I'm kind of doing this, what I think of as a lifelong BFA. It's my continuing ed thing, my self-led um, situation where I'm taking classes and things, but it's from a point of view of having a much wider knowledge about art than I would have as an undergrad. So maybe it's better. It's the only way I know for myself. Um, yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, that's kind of what most of us are doing anyway, even if we did get a BFA.
Yeah,
Continuing
for
to
sure.
grow and think and like set
Hmm.
work that you're making.
Yeah, and supplement your knowledge with whatever's out there. Um, but the second question, if you're ready for it, is what have you done? What would you do instead? And so I have all these like myriad interests that I have entertained, and yet I always come back to art because art is like in a container that continually expands to allow me to fold in my own idiosyncratic way those interests, such that I don't have to make a capital C career out of gardening or jewelry design or these other interests that I have, right? So,
Mhm.
like, some of them are, I took a master gardening class. My mom was a master gardener. Like, I have a decent amount of plant knowledge, and our own yard is something we've worked on, is like a labor of love since we had this house.
Your yard is beautiful. Your house
Oh,
is.
thank you. Oh, thank you. And that's the next thing, is homes and spaces, like some kind, not an interior designer, because every time I see something that's interior designed, I'm generally kind of grossed out by it. Like it feels too homogenous to me. So like a space wrangler or aesthetizer, no, aestheticizer.
Oh, I could see that because I went into your house and thought, oh, I just need Amy to be my house doula, my home doula.
Oh my gosh, a house doula. That is something I would do. I think I kind of live inside of my, like, a collage. Like our house
Yeah.
is like a collage. Um, and every space I've ever inhabited is some different scale of that. Like I have photos from my room as a like junior high kid, and I had everything color coordinated the way I liked and all these collections and all of this stuff. And back then it was like peach and teal and parrots and dolphins. it was like late 80s, early 90s, but now it's whatever this kind of eclectic thing. Esoteric jewelry interests, like weird fetishy interests in like Victorians, for example, weird fetishy interests. So like their insect jewelry and they love a specimen, like a weird rock specimen, and they would make it into a pendant or a watch fob or something. So all of that, collecting it, even selling it, which I do on an Instagram app, very sort of casually. And then like making stuff, like making jewelry, making stuff for my house.
Yeah.
I have all these like crafty ambitions that are not, I used to think of them as being not serious. And now it's all the same. It's like my art. I function so much better when I look at it as all part of my mental and creative ecosystem, if that makes sense.
It does make sense to me. Do you think maybe you I just saw an exhibition of early Tennessee photography, but part of it included a wing of it was like early embroidery in Tennessee, but early-ish. I mean, it was like 1800s. And some of it quite problematic in terms of like the context around it, like girls' schools, these like boarding schools in the 1800s that are like
Yep.
near plantations and stuff.
Yeah.
Or there were some of the hair sculptures that are like
Mhm.
Victorian's hair that's curled around. Do you think, so I set that up with saying, do you think that you might have been a Victorian in a former life?
Oh, wow. It's interesting you mention the region because my family's, so as a side, so maybe I was. If I was the kind who wore pants. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
I was a Victorian pants wearing lady.
Yes.
But my family, my mom's side of the family is from the northern North Georgia, near the start of the Appalachian Trail, about 20 miles from there. They're in LJ. And so we have piles and piles and piles of traditional quilts, and then just like make do quilts where I have, if you go walk through my mom's home she grew up in, which is this little tin roofed cabin that they added eventually plumbing, and they added rooms here and there. There were 3 generations, 15 people in 3 rooms, no plumbing, no electricity, no phones, right? And they were working on a subsistence farm, like that's how they fed themselves. Beautiful land, gorgeous river valley, mountains, 85 acres. So there's this photo of my mom in her room once she graduated to having her own room, because she was the only girl child, 5 older brothers. And she's in this like hippie dress, and she's like a teen. And I have the quilt that my grandma made for me, and that same dress fabric is in the quilt my grandma made for me when I was born. So there's this kind of like conversation across generations, certainly, that's happening. And I had such a different upbringing than that. However, it's so deeply in my bones. We went and visited there a few times a year for my whole upbringing. And then my parents returned there when they retired. And so they have a house on that land. So a new house they built. So there's something about like the resonance of ancestors, and like something about seeing objects with all the potential that an object can hold beyond its immediate and obvious use that I think is innate